And global affairs analyst Calvin Dack joins me on the news from Washington via Skype. Good to have you join us, Calvin Dack. Now, what do you make of President Trump's visit to Kenosha and his message while he was there?
Well, I don't know if you can see it on my face, but it was really, really confusing, particularly in the segment that you just played where he's talking about in a split second, someone can lose their life. I didn't realize he wasn't talking about the victims, but he was talking about police officers. It just goes to show you that there is a disconnect in this country between what Donald Trump says the problem and solution is, and what many people, including the protesters, including myself, believe that it is. Let's keep in mind that this isn't just about Kenosha, Wisconsin, or the state of Wisconsin that he narrowly won against Hillary Clinton in 2016. This is about his push to change America. He also talked about yesterday in Kenosha wanting to bring back patriotic education and not teaching kids that there's racism here in the United States. So this is a lot bigger and potentially more impactful than his missteps and miswords in Kenosha yesterday.
So staying on some of the things he said, when he announced $1 million for Kenosha law enforcement to, quote, go out and do what you have to do, what do you think that meant?
Well, I think it's a direct message, and from a political standpoint, it works with his base because he is, mischaracterizing what a lot of people are saying about defund the police. So he literally funded the police. So I think that he is showing, and not just by his words, but by his actions, that he believes that the best way to solve systemic racism in this country, which he doesn't think exists, is by pumping more money into the police. And that's not the solution, it's part of the problem.
So you just identified that he probably doesn't think that racial discrimination exists in the U.S. And President Trump never mentioned Jacob Blake's name, never even acknowledged him or his family. What did that say to you?
Well, I don't know if you saw or your viewers saw yesterday, but there was an interview that aired and on Fox News where Donald Trump was extremely honest and transparent when he compared the shootings of Jacob Blake and others to a moment where you choke in golf. And it was so incredibly indicative of how he thinks about these issues, that he doesn't think that there's a problem. He thinks that occasionally, out of thousands of interactions, some police who are already working too hard may make a slight mistake, but that shows you the disregard that he has. Black Lives Matter is a campaign and a movement here in the United States. And what Donald Trump has shown is that Black lives don't matter as much to him in the way that he looks at police brutality and systemic racism.
Right, so during one of several protests in Kenosha, I saw a protester carrying a placard that read, "Black lives are on the ballot." Do you think that politicians are preying on tribal loyalties for votes?
Yes, I do. And I can say that one of the things I've noticed within the last 2 weeks is, what Donald Trump is saying, what he believes, what he's trying to do is no different than what he's done since he's been president. And in fact, it's no different than what he promoted for most of his life. What is different is that this message of the problem are the Black people protesting. The problem isn't with the police and our system. Other Republican leaders are not just supporting him, but they're going even further. We've got members of Congress who, when asked about the 17-year-old who killed two protesters because he thought it was his job to cross state lines and go protect businesses that he didn't own, they were actually saying that that was a representation of frustration of how he tried to resolve the situation on its own. So the issues for Black Americans are on the ballot because this is more than Donald Trump's rhetoric. This is a movement that unfortunately is gaining a foothold in the United States.
Global affairs analyst Calvin Dack, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.